Everyone, welcome to TechX Media. This is me, Rabab Zehra. This year, Axis Communications, a prominent player of security and network solutions, is celebrating a significant milestone. The firm created and introduced the first network camera 25 years ago. And now network cameras are the cornerstone of surveillance systems that are used all over the world. So we contacted Etienne van der Walt, Regional Director, Axis Communications, Middle East and Africa, with a couple of questions. Let us now welcome Etienne without further ado. Hi, Etienne, how are you?
Good, and you? Thank you for the invite.
Okay, so I will start with my first question. How has Axis Communications progressed since the integration of first network camera in 1996? Help me visualize the differences in network camera needs from time to time.
That's a good question, and I think progression has been a hot topic for all technology companies.
Yes.
But if you look back a little bit in 1996, you'll understand that there was an opportunity, and luckily we were pioneers within this opportunity, and we've launched the Axis, what we call the NetEye. And this was a device that could only stream 1 frame per second at very low resolution. It was very limited, to be extremely honest. And that was right in the beginning of 1996. And then, of course, as we discovered and developed more, the portfolio, of course, deepened. We've had, of course, introduced more technologies to our devices. And today we are proud to say that we are in a leading position with regards to innovation and many technologies in our industry as well, which we've been really fortunate to have. But if you look at progression just with regards to devices, you would understand that back in 1996, if you almost think a little bit about mobile technology, you would understand at what point did we start seeing cameras in our mobile devices, and you'll see that there you go towards the 2000s. So this was really an early part. You would also understand that resolutions in your mobile devices in the beginning was really low, and you couldn't do much with those images. Images were high and the sizes were really big. And today we have high resolutions, full frame rate, very good compression technologies, and the ability to start looking at AI and deep learning and intelligence in video. So if you almost compare mobile devices with what you can do with those photos, that's very easily available today in the security industry. What I mean by saying that is that if you, let's say, for example, you look at your Apple device and it says, I want to see all the photos of person A, and you can almost go into a photo library, select a person, will give you all the images of that person. So there's an intelligent algorithm that works with it. So intelligence in the forefront in security devices has been most of the journey. We talk here, for example, of how we've introduced video motion detection. This means that a camera will look at a scene and it will see what is moving. And this was in the early 2000s, 2001, we pioneered that part. Now, today, if I look from 2000 of where we started to where we are today we are doing object analytics. Today, the cameras will say to you, this is a person, that is a cat. This is person A, B, and C, and they can access certain areas of your building. So that the intelligence on the system has evolved tremendously over the past 25 years. Also because we're working a lot with images, and as we know, I mean, I think everybody is a photographer because everybody has a mobile device. But storage, that's your limitation. It's not your device. So as we work, of course, with a lot of recordings, and this is part of our industry, we had to be really smart about what do we do with this amount of data. So in the past, or a few years ago, we introduced a technology called ZipStream, and this means that you can send video at a very low bit rate, but not to sacrifice the quality of the video. So those technologies have evolved constantly within the product. And this is also, of course, if we look a little bit at 1996, it was one device. And today, I think we have the widest portfolio in the camera industry. We have devices that pan, tilt, zoom. We have higher resolutions. We're talking about 10, 15 megapixels. We talk about full frame rate, 100+ frames per second. And then you have, for example, oil and gas applications where you need devices that are in explosion protected housings, intrinsically safe, and so forth. So the evolution has been tremendous over the past 25 years.
Interesting. I was actually visualizing all of this. So moving forward, what advice would you give enterprises before integrating surveillance cameras based on your extensive experience with network cameras?
I think what we always talk about when we talk to our large end customers, we talk about an open platform, and I think that is really important, that nobody should feel that they are locked into a system. And here we have a very often a best of breed message. This means that should you decide to use a recorder or a software to manage all your network cameras from one provider, and you want to use 4, 5, or 6 different types of cameras or manufacturers for your applications, you should have a project that integrates everything seamlessly, that they should not be limited, they shouldn't be locked out. That is really important. I think the other part that we talk about quite a bit is we talk about sustainability, and not just about sustainability, because usually when you say sustainability, people think green, but it's beyond green, because green is one element there. But we talk about ethical use of surveillance cameras. We talk about ethical use of analytics, ethical use of AI and deep learning to ensure it is for safety and security. That's really, really important, and not to oppress and limit populations or people either. And the other part as well is, as you source, you also always want to make sure that you source from ethical companies. And these are companies that source their products in an ethical way to ensure that those suppliers that we are using are certified. They conduct their business quite ethically. And of course, the last part would be is always to ensure that there's the right support. We talk, especially in our industry, as it is a security appliance. This means that things can go wrong. Things may get vandalized. What does the replacement or repair journey look like? What is the warranty of these devices? And is it a true warranty? Test it as well and ask questions. I would always say that sometimes it's easy to state a lot of things on paper, but what investments did that organization do locally to support pre and post sales? And post sales, we're talking about installations that we have locally 10, 12 years later, and the devices are still working, or they've probably had a failure, but there was a support system, part of the commitment between manufacturer and end customer. That's really important.
Okay, so now I'm sure that there must be some interesting technologies behind all this work that is happening. So can you please outline the technologies that enable your products to stand out in the competition?
There's so many, and but I will maybe highlight just one or two. I think when it comes to there's what I mentioned earlier on. There's a little bit about how we if you have a high camera count. So let's say, for example, you're doing a site that needs 500 or 600 cameras. All of those cameras will then be recorded onto a local server typically, but then there would always be opportunity for people to access those recordings remotely. So let's say, for example, we're working with an oil and gas company and they have an offshore facility. How would they access that data? Because they've got limited bandwidth and limited ability. So technologies that we've invented called Zipstream that really gives you a lower bitrate to ensure that you get full image quality for forensic value is something that we're really proud of. I think the other part that we look at, and there's, as I said, there's so many. We talk a lot about cybersecurity. We talk a lot about how we manufacture from a sustainability perspective as well. This is PVC products. But if we go into more of a technology field as well, we have things, for example, that we call Arctic temperature control. And this means that at minus 60 degrees is what a device starts up to pan, tilt, and zoom. So it preheats and then it starts. So that's a little bit of the technology and the manufacturing ability we have. And then on this side of the region, we talk about plus 60 degrees. So what does the camera do to shed a little bit of the temperature? Because remember, this is an electronic unit and it generates its own heat as well. So all the way from manufacturing, we have to start thinking about minus 60 to plus 60, what technologies can be used to enable us and more. And then the last part I think that is really important currently is a big talking point in the industry is AI and deep learning. And as I said, in 2001, we've launched our first video analytics camera that can tell you when there's movement. It will send you an alarm to say there's movement in this building, and it works on a schedule and says after 2 p.m. there shouldn't be anybody. There's somebody there now. So that was the starting point, and that was a long time ago. Today we're talking about launching our first AI chipset embedded into our devices, and that was at the start of last year. Now in 2022, all our devices will be AI enabled. So the journey just continues with the technology. And here, what is important about this is Axis talks about open platforms. So third-party technology providers who we work with through our SDKs and so forth can develop applications just for these devices. So if you look, for example, at a school, and you want certain things to be automated and controlled, you can say that certain areas are on high alert at certain times. How would I manage my what do you call it? My system after hours? Who gets the alerts? Who gets access to the management service? So all of those technologies are enabled, of course, in the manufacturing quality. But then what we do is we sit with our end customers or our consultants, and we work on a solution based for the customer needs as well. And then we have a pool of technology. We ensure that those pool of technologies come front to mind in the conversations that we have as well, because that is important. It's all about solving pain points, correct?
Right. Okay, so now talking about Expo 2020 is already here, and we got to know that you are participating in it under the Swedish Pavilion. So what we will be seeing over there?
Oh, you'll see. You're going to see quite a lot. It's been a fantastic journey. We're very proud, of course, the UAE office to be a sponsor of the Swedish Pavilion. Mm-hmm. And if you look from a little bit from 2017 to where it started, it was just an empty piece of desert. And today the Expo site is over 600 football fields. It is world class, and it's opening, as you know, tomorrow is a big, it's a big day. So we are part of the Swedish Pavilion, which is done on, it looks like a natural forest. It is very driven around sustainability. Inside the Sweden Pavilion, you would see that there's over 200 access devices. So we've got, for example, radar equipment, we've got cameras, we've got access control systems and so forth, and all of that. So the safety and security is done. And of course, we've worked with the local authorities, for example, CIRA, to ensure that we comply to their needs as well and to get those approvals. But inside the halls, you would see that there's storyboards. And there's a visitor experience that will be. So for example, they talk about circular economies, and there's all of the Swedish partners then, how would they present on that topic? And there's movie boards, and there's a lot of information. Then we go, for example, to life sciences. And here you can look a little bit at what's happening from a healthcare perspective, what technologies are available, and so forth. But we've also very fortunate to host 6 dedicated days. So once a month, starting in October, finishing in March, we have a topic of the month. We start a little bit by the first topic talking about smart cities. And the last topic, the 6th topic, we finish our journey with talking about quality and cybersecurity. So every month there's an event. We're hosting this to our channel partners, our system integrators, and our end customers that we work with. And we also have the opportunity to broadcast this. So on our website, anybody who's interested to see what is happening or what Axis is talking about can gain access quite easily. But it's going to be a fantastic show. We're really excited and really privileged to be there.
Definitely. I'm also going to visit for sure. Okay, so last question for today. After a remarkable 25 years in the video surveillance industry, what is next for Axis Communications now?
I think it's the journey continues. I think that 25 years we have a little bit of an event coming up tomorrow night for the local team, and we'll cut a cake and we'll celebrate the past. But I also think it's really important that we move forward. As we said, as over the past 25 years, systems and needs have changed tremendously. Technology, of course, the changes are daily. So the next 25 years will be probably as exciting as the first 25 years, but now it's really about, we talk about cloud solutions in the future. We talk about processing power. We talk about edge analytics. This is really important. So, you know, in 1996, when we started talking about Axis entering the surveillance industry, we back then spoke about a terminology that we use called thin service. Now, you look at our definition of thin service, it's exactly what IoT is today. It's exactly the same. So we just named it differently because there wasn't a word for it. So IoT devices, platforms, and intelligence on the edge is what's going to drive industry and technologies in our sector really for the next coming years. So that is really important. The other part, as well, as we always talk about a safer and a smarter tomorrow. And from, of course, our company is in the forefront if it comes to safety, but the smart part is really important. That long-standing opportunities, making sure that we really understand needs of today and ensure that our development answer exactly the same. So R&D and our teams and our focus groups are really involved in what is, where's the industry today? What does it need tomorrow? And are we on the right path? And I think we've shown over the past 25 years we've done that well. And I think the next 25 years won't be without challenges, but it will definitely be an exciting journey.
That's really very interesting, and it's a pleasure talking to you. The answers, the responses were really insightful and informative, and I look forward to have you again at TechX in future. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Stay tuned to TechX to know more about what is happening inside the technology industry. Goodbye.